Hey, Riverside, San Bernardino.
Yep.
Even with the Broen case, the gun grabbers are getting even more desperate. Gavin Newsom's 28th Amendment would gut the Second Amendment. He also just signed SB 2 that prohibits concealed carry everywhere. AB 28 adds an 11% tax on guns and ammo, so self-defense would be priced out of reach for more people. Let's face it, all these laws disarm only the people that would use a gun to defend themselves. If you are ready to fight back and do something to defend your Second Amendment right, Inland Empire Gun Owners is for you. When you become a member, you're joining the most effective local Second Amendment advocacy group in the nation. We're growing the 2A community and are getting more pro-2A officials elected. Membership is only $10 a month, and joining is super easy. Just go to iegunowners.com/join.
So I wanted to have a discussion, Dave.
Yes.
And this keeps coming up. The basic question is, should 2A be pro-cop? So should Second Amendment advocates be pro-cop, pro-police, pro-law enforcement?
As a blanket, yes.
Well, so so I think the first thing we need to do is talk about, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to be pro? What's the definition of being pro-cop? Yeah. And I think that people who are, that are passionate about the Second Amendment, I mean real Second Amendment advocates, not the ones that just kind of give it lip service and it's just kind of, it's number 8 on their list of priorities behind, 7 other whatever hot button items or whatever. I'm talking about people that are really truly passionate about it, that live and breathe it, that show up at city council meetings, that go to the meetings, that pay the legal bills, all the things, the real Second Amendment advocates. Should they be pro Second Amendment? Pro cop. And their concern is all these horrible laws that we fight against. Who enforces them?
Cops.
So it's understandable where it's like, well, wait a minute. So it's not Gavin Newsom showing up on your doorstep saying, "Give me your gun." It's going to be a police officer. It's not Gavin Newsom who's pulling you over,
and he has to do his job.
Okay,
a police officer, or he's going to lose his job.
I hear you. But that's the fear, where it's. I mean, all officers have a certain amount of latitude, right?
But you have sheriffs already saying not going to enforce that.
You do some, and then you have sheriffs that are doubling down on it. I mean, I'll give you an example. It's getting way better now that they're actually issuing CCWs. But before they had CCWs, you'd regularly see stories in California where a law enforcement officer pulls somebody over, one of the few people who has a CCW, and boom, that person ends up in cuffs on the sidewalk, disarmed. Now at traffic stops turned into an hour and a half. And that's not when you say, well, hey, a cop has to do his job. No cop has to do that. They choose to do that. So I think what we're talking about is
I disagree.
Okay.
Because when you become a law enforcement officer, you are bound to follow the law and follow the law.
Yeah, but it's not if you pull over someone for speeding and find out that they have a gun and they're a CCW holder,
okay,
it is not. You don't have to cuff this person.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. No, you're absolutely right.
Like if they say, "Hey, Officer so and so, today your job at 9 a.m. You and 10 other people are going to go over to this guy's house." And he broke the law or whatever. He's being investigated. You're going to go in and we're going to deliver this warrant. You're going to take all the firearms out of his safe.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's doing his job.
Yeah,
But
what about the guy in New York? Did you see the guy in New York? A homeless guy opened up a security gate and allowed this lady to come through without paying to come in to the subway, and then he turned around and said, "Give me money."
I didn't see it.
And she said, "No, I'm not going to do it." Well, there was a gentleman walking along the subway and seen it, reached into his bag, pulled out his gun, and yelled at the guy. The guy wasn't still harassing the you-know-what out of her. So he fired 2 rounds into the ceiling, and the guy ran away.
Yeah.
So they arrested the criminal.
A lot of mistakes so far.
Yeah, I know. I think he had a CCW.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
They arrested the criminal.
Yeah.
And they arrested him. And the head of the subway transit authority said, "This will never happen in my subway."
I don't know about that situation, but I can already pick out like 10.
So they let
mistakes.
They let the guy out with no bail.
Yeah.
And they charged this guy $10,000.
That I don't know, but I think what people are talking about when Second Amendment advocates, what they're talking about when they talk about, hey, should we or should we not be pro law enforcement? What they're talking about is, should we defend this back the blue or whatever, this idea that cops are always right. That even when they make mistakes, they should be defended.
No, you can't.
I don't think we're talking about. I know my personal feelings are a cop who is overly aggressive or doing abusing his or her authority is like one of the worst people in society,
without a doubt.
And a cop who is really truly protects and serves and honors someone's constitutional rights, that person walks on water in my mind. Like, that guy's a hero or girl, because they're. So many jobs out there, you'll never be on the other end of a gun. There's so many desk jobs and sales jobs and IT jobs and customer service jobs and whatever. You're never going to look down the barrel of someone else's gun.
Right.
So
in those jobs.
So taking a job where that's a real possibility and doing that job as a hero, you're respecting someone's constitutional rights. You're treating people as equals. You're really truly protecting and serving and telling the truth and trying to stop crime. That person, I get it, man. Right. I'm like, wow, that guy. How does he or she do that?
Right.
But this idea that, hey, look, that police officer made a mistake or had a bad day or whatever, and therefore we're gonna let it slide. No,
you can't. Let it slide.
I get that. But I do think that for example, I know the NRA, about 20 years ago, did this effort to kind of put their arms around law enforcement in the hopes that law enforcement would adopt their ideals and their principles. I don't think that. I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I don't think it worked at all.
Do we still have the NRA?
Well, I think there are some sheriffs out there that are like, hey, I'm pro Second Amendment. That's important. But I don't think anybody was moved. I don't think anybody, I think that the police officers who have opinions. I don't think that, putting our arms around them and whatever, that's not going to change their Second Amendment opinion. They're either pro or they're not.
Who was that sheriff that was running for sheriff? Hemsler?
Oh, Hemmerling.
There's a prime example right there.
Yeah. He was a
prime example.
He was like the definitive.
He was a poster child.
I'm pro Second Amendment, but.
Yeah. So, there's a prime example right there. So, I agree. I would agree with you on that. I really did.
But it's tough. And I think that people see cops and like, hey, that person carries a gun for a living. You're a gun guy or girl. You're an advocate for people.
You must be a Second Amendment guy.
Yeah, but there's a very non-opaque line between an advocate and a law enforcement officer. And I think that they need to earn their almost like a politician.
Sure.
They have to earn their way into being called pro Second Amendment.
Right.
It's by default.
You can't just say it, just to say it, and then not follow through.
And I think it's not even so much of it isn't their fault. Like, I think one of the most, I've talked about this on the show, I think one of the most important developments that the United States, one of our most important accomplishments is that we've made a distinct line between military and law enforcement. Because the British military was basically federal law enforcement,
right?
Back in the colonies, and we said, all right, well, that's not going to happen again. But the mistake made is that so many people with good intentions have turned law enforcement into a military.
Isn't that happening now?
It's happened. We're there.
I think we're there.
We're smack dab.
Yeah.
I was up in Orange County last week, and I saw some guys all kitted out. They looked like a SWAT, like a SEAL team, Green Beret SWAT team, and they were state parks guys. They were rangers. They were, hey, boo-boo, where's the picnic basket? They were those guys.
Really?
And I'm like, what are you guys dealing with as a park ranger that you're all SEAL Team 6? What is going on here?
Let me give you another example. La Mesa Car Show. Guy drove up in a bucket T. He's got a dealer plate on his bucket T.
Yeah.
somebody calls DMV. They roll up with AKs, flak jackets, the whole bit, and arrested the guy for having a dealer plate on his bucket tee.
A dealer plate, great.
A dealer plate.
Oh, I think it's an important discussion. I don't think we're done yet. Let's call this part one of a discussion. I think we need to continue to have, and maybe even get some
experts.
Get some people in here and weigh in. Like, hey, what does it mean to be pro law enforcement if you're pro 2A? Should we? Shouldn't we? Where do we draw lines? I think it's extremely important. Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.